Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. Thought I'd stop in for a little love chat here on CBiz Media. Do a quick little brief live. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope you had a happy Sunday. The Sunday continues on. For my 90-day fans, you know that's going to be coming on tonight. And for my sports fans, I think some sporting events are coming on. I may be wrong. Maybe that's Monday. Shout out to the Lions. All right, guys, this is Irene, CBiz Media. Faith, love, and trends. You can check us out talking about some of the latest news. Again, faith, love, and trends on our podcast. Go to cbiztvmedia.com. You'll find our Spotify link there, as well as other links to our content and other projects we are doing. We appreciate you stopping in and showing support here and at cbiztvmedia.com. I hope the music isn't too loud and overpowering, so I'm going to get into this. All right. So J-Lo, recently she was on Howard Stern's, one of his programs, I guess, his program. And she was talking about her marriages and basically the fact that none of her marriages worked, her marriages failed. She's like, you know what? It's not on me. It's just that these people didn't know how to love me properly. And I get what she's saying. Like she's saying basically, in a way, she was saying she was never in love. She was never really loved in those relationships. And to a degree, I guess I can say she may be right about that. I haven't been married myself. I've had some serious relationships, but usually, you know, if it's right, it's right. If the person really wants to be there, they're going to stay. The marriage is going to last. It's going to work. But you can't always just say the person just didn't love you. Sometimes it's just things didn't work out the way you planned. Sometimes you're a little mismatched on certain areas of your life, and you realize that, and you realize you need to move on. And sometimes it could be some major issues that's the problem. But to say that they didn't know how to love you properly, maybe they didn't, but I think she kind of missed this with her last failed marriage, is that they, you know, we don't know everything about each other, and we think we're going to have a perfect marriage, and it's not always perfect. Love may not be enough is basically the message with her relationships and her failed marriages. One of her husbands came out, and you can see him on the screen here. Her ex-husband, I think it was her first husband, Johnny Noah. And he came out and said, you know what? I really did love you. I was a good man to you. You cheated on me. And at the time that we're talking about this, J-Lo has not responded to these allegations that she basically cheated in her first marriage. He said he did so much to be supportive for her, and how dare she kind of play that victim card. And he's basically saying, no, J-Lo, you really are the problem. You're trying to play victim shame or whatever. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But you're trying to play the victim in all these relationships, and you're not confessing to the part that you played. And honestly, I do believe we all play a part in our failed relationships. You know, some just play bigger parts than others. Sometimes we allow things, and by allowing things, we kind of set ourselves up. And by not putting our foot down in certain areas and just accepting things, and then one day everything just comes to a head and blows up, and you're just, fed up. We don't communicate properly. I mean, there's so many elements to why a relationship could fail, and I definitely can say that both people play a part on some level, but some people play a bigger part than others. And in this situation of her first husband, he's saying she's the one that played the biggest part in the fail of their marriage. Uh, but like I said previously, with her saying, they didn't love her, I felt like kind of that way when it came to my relationship as well, is that they didn't know how to love me. They didn't. I also feel like maybe I was still trying to figure out how to be loved and what I wanted in a relationship and what I wanted generally. So I think it's kind of a learning experience that you have, and it's like either the person is willing to stick around and work with you where you're at, and maybe you are too hard to stick around for. Maybe you don't want them to stick around either. Maybe you need to find yourself. Maybe you need to figure things out. I won't put it all on that one person, but sometimes the other person is the person that is the problem. And according to her first husband, she doesn't realize that she's the problem, and she's the reason why all of her marriages, not all of them, because we can't attest to everything that happened in all her marriages, but for his situation, he's saying, yeah, girl, you're the reason that this didn't work out. So what did you guys take on that? I really thought her and Ben were gonna last, and that was the love of her life. The second time around, like, really, you guys didn't make it work. So I don't know what really is the problem for her. She alluded to the fact that, hey, I may not even get married again, which may be a good thing. Maybe she has some work to do within herself. But I hate when people put the blame all on the woman. So I'm not going to do that. And like I said, I don't know all of her issues and all of her marriages. I think both people can take blame in certain ways. Now, in cheating scenarios, I'm sorry, the cheater has to take most of the blame if you cheated in a relationship. If you mistreated your partner, if you were abusive to your partner, yes, you basically take the blame. The person that was mistreated, if you know you're being mistreated and you just take it, I won't blame you for that, but you have to put your foot down and you have to know when to walk away and when to leave a relationship. Not to say that that's the case with any of J-Lo's relationships, just talking generally about relationships. Okay, now let's go to another topic of conversation when it comes to relationships as of late. We got K-Fed's book. K-Fed's new book is out. And he's got a lot of admissions to some things that Britney has done in their relationship and just generally with the kids and all that. And I'm not going to deep dive into everything he said and everything in his book. I did see his interview on TMZ, and they were asking, well, how come you were silent this whole time? And I believe his kids are about grown, if not grown yet. I believe, yeah, their kids are grown, like 19 and 20. So he said he just sat back and tried to assess the situation. He didn't want to come out in a heated moment and just be angry and, just say stuff. And he wanted to just the time to kind of tell what was going on. And I think he probably did wait for this moment, the fact that his kids are grown at this time, that, hey, now I can really tell my side. I mean, that's a long wait. K-Fed, he kind of had his time in the spotlight, but his time did not shine very long. So it is very possible that he's just trying to get, hey, I'm just trying to get some attention, some limelight, some money, whatever I can get out of this Britney situation. Now, Britney, she's kind of gone up and down and spiraled and done a lot of different things. And even after her conservatorship was dissolved, she still looks like she's going through some challenges. So some of these videos she posts, you guys have seen clips, you guys know. So at this time, I think Britney still has some things she needs to work out with herself. I don't know if it'll ever be the right time to come out. I guess that's what K-Fed is saying. It may not have ever really been a right time or a good time, especially for Britney's situation and whatever she's going through. But the fact that kids are grown, I respect the fact that, okay, the kids are adults, they're young adults. I hope that he did have a talk with them to say, hey guys, I'm gonna come out with this information, about your mom. This is what's gonna be in the book. I hope that he really discussed it with them so that they won't be shocked at some of the things that they're gonna read and hear and see through the media. But basically, one of the issues was he was saying that that's why I have JT up here, her ex, and that was a whole big firestorm of information that came out when she came out with her memoir, and Justin was named for doing some things in their past relationship. But K-Fed says before he was about to marry her, and of course she had been broken up with Justin, and I don't think it had been a whole lot of time, but it had been some time. And before they were going to get married, she calls Justin, and basically he made it sound like she was not over Justin, that she could have possibly still had connections with him right before they were about to get married. But he does say that, honestly, Brittany did let me know that she did have some unfinished business and she wanted to, have closure with this relationship before she moved on with K-Fed. But sometimes we think about closure. I mean, she could have been saying, I'm speculating. And he's even said himself that even after they married, he feels like she loved him, but she still had some type of connection with JT that she couldn't let go of. But I'm speculating, it could have been a last ditch effort to say, hey, I'm about to marry this other guy. It's now or never. JT, come on, step up. Tell me that you want to be back in this. I mean, it's possible. He never said that as far as what I see on the coverage. Didn't read the book, but for what people are reporting, he never said that. But a possibility. And he was kind of alluding to the fact that, there was still a connection there right before he married her. And obviously that made him feel some type of way, or he wouldn't have put it in his book. So I just thought it was interesting in the fact that he basically says that these two have a connection that Britney can never let go of, and he feels that they probably still have some sort of connection. Maybe even to this day, at least for Britney in her heart and her mind, if that was really her first love, it's kind of hard to let that go. They were both in the limelight, the spotlight, the heyday of their lives. They were growing up as amazing young people, amazing teenagers, just getting and having whatever they wanted and being together and having that experience together. I'm sure that tied them in a special way, along with some other things that happened that Brittany shared with us, tied them in a special way that is unforgettable. I'll say, especially for the ladies, the first person that you really connected with, or it doesn't, maybe not the first, but you just have a special connection with this one person you were with. It didn't work out for whatever reason, just like with the J-Lo story. You got married. Sometimes love isn't enough to carry that marriage. You might be in a relationship where you feel like you're in love, but sometimes love is not enough when there's other issues involved. So I just thought that was interesting thing to talk about, and K-Fed's whole take, and all these years later, as they're all in different places in their lives, they're all older, they all have children and moved on. You just that some of the connections and bonds that still might be there, and K-Fed kind of is exposing that. I don't know if I'm gonna read the book, but I don't know if I fully respect his take on everything that was said, because again, I didn't read the book. But we'll see. We'll see if some more information comes out. And as usual, I wish Britney the best. And I don't like to see anyone be exploited. So I believe she did come out and say she wasn't happy with this book. I don't know all the details of what she said, but I don't think any time right now is a good time for her to have to deal with this, because it looks like she has things she's dealing with anyway. But as a as a person that's been in the spotlight, people still love her. She's probably going to continuously have somebody or something coming out or coming up, and it's going to be another challenge for her. And I hope that she's able to figure out a way to deal with all these challenges, along with other life challenges that she may have that we are not aware of. But I wish her the best. And I wish everybody the best, but I really wish her the best because I know she's kind of has a lot going on. And her kids as well. Some of the things that were said about her kids and her disconnection with her kids, I feel really bad about. And I hope that all of that situation is not true. And if it is, I hope she's able to resolve it because, kids need their mom. And that bonding connection is very precious and very important. And I hope that they can rebuild if that is the case. All right, guys. So lastly, I just want to mention these two because I don't know what's even happened with them at this point. We know that this is Nicole Kidman. And why do I have to forget his name right now? Because I just had his name in my head. I like his music too, but why his name escapes me. I'm sorry. But these two, we know that, you know that he's a country artist. I feel like he's kind of pop country artist. Why do I forget his name? They were together for like 20 years though, in their relationship. Their marriage ended, and they're kind of trying to say that it was Nicole's fault. He wanted to finalize a divorce. They were kind of in talks, but he wanted to totally finalize his divorce. Then at his concert, people were saying he changed the words to one of the songs that were about her and mentioned one of the young lady that was on stage with him, and that also was a performer. So then there's speculation that he's hooked up with her and he moved on. I don't know all the details, but I do kind of want to know if some more stuff is going to come out about them. But I think time will tell, especially if somebody did move on, he or she or both. Right now, it looks like she was the one unhappy with this marriage ending after 20 years. That's a long time in Hollywood years and just regular years, so I feel kind of bad. Keith Urban, thank you. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. I feel kind of bad that their thing ended. They seemed like they were madly in love and just kind of came out of nowhere. That after 20 years, it's over. And if Nicole is at fault, I'm just curious as to what you may have done, Nicole. But Nicole has been married to Tom Cruise. She's had other connections to desirable men. I know that if she wants somebody, I'm sure she can find someone else. But when you have 20 years together with someone, you've grown older with them, you have that connection, especially for a woman, that's a strong bond. It's better than just finding someone new or just finding some other hot guy or whatever to replace. It's not easily to replace a 20-year relationship. Anyway, guy or girl, but so that's all for our little brief chat, our love chat here on CBiz Media. This is Irene. Feel free to drop your thoughts, comments, questions. Check us out again at cbiztvmedia.com. And let's hang out again another time. And as I always say, all the best. God bless. Love you.